Well, hello and welcome to District 71 Toastmasters Unplugged this evening. This, believe it or not, is episode 23. And tonight is a very special event because we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit on the most anticipated event of our calendar this year. It's our showcase conference, the 2026 District 71 conference in Tralee. It's called the Rose Conference. It's in County Kerry from May the 8th to the 10th. Hopefully the web address will come up on the screen soon. Please do book your tickets there. There's plenty available. Just to introduce myself, my name's Nigel Smith. I'm a Toastmasters Club member from Birmingham Bullring Speakers in Area 39, Division E, and I'll be your host here this evening. And yes, we are heading to the stunning Rose Hotel in just a couple of months' time. But before that first gavel drops, we're going to be gathered tonight with three people that can be central to the success of this year's event. So whether you're a seasoned Toastmaster or a new member wondering whether you should book that ticket, tonight we're going to go in our unplugged mode to find out why this conference is going to be so unmissable. In fact, we've got an exclusive backstage pass, and we're going to meet the engine, we're going to meet the heart, and we're going to meet the star quality of this year's event. And so before we carry on, actually, I'm just looking through the comments list. So I just want to give a quick shout out to past District Director Elizabeth Jordan, who's joining us live here this evening. Good evening, Elizabeth. It's really nice to see you here, and thank you so much for your support. So let's move on. First up, we're going to talk to the man who's literally going to be building the stage that we'll be standing on. Born in London's East End, but a Tralee man for 36 years, although he still says he's on trial. Not sure what his best before date is. Our first guest is a performer, a choral singer, a community activist, with a background in banking, no less, and a referee education for the FIA and UEFA. Could do with him at Villa Park tomorrow night, I think. This guy knows how to manage a crowd and a flock. Toastmaster for 6 years, is distinguished, and has been a past vice president of public relations for a year. Fun fact, in this week of the Oscars, this guy, you might recognize him from the Oscar-nominated 2015 film called The Lobster, where he shared the silver screen alongside none other than Olivia Colman and Colin Farrell. He's our conference organizer, James Finnegan. Hi, James. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Nigel. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. All I have to do now is live up to it.
Well, I think our time's done, James. We've got any time left to talk now. So we need to move on to our next guest. But no, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And just for folks who are watching this live, if James's picture seems a little stuck, we have got some video problems there, but we can, James, hear you very well indeed. But how have you been today anyway? Are you good?
Today is brilliant, Nigel, and today is 49 days until the conference starts. So excellent. Things are pretty hectic. And can I just say, I'm delighted Elizabeth here. She is a member of the wonderful team that are actually doing the work. What I tend to do is I tend to stay out of the way and keep quiet. But we have a wonderful team of Michael McCann, who is putting all these wonderful things together, David Clifford, Gillian Geraghty, Olivia Knopfler, Linda Devlin, Angela Agafifi, even Olga behind the scenes tonight here has a big input into the conference. Peter Kiernan. What we have is a wonderful mix of experience and people with new ideas, new, fresh inputs. So this is going to be a spectacular conference, and you cannot miss it.
Thank you for that, James. And of course, you've got that wonderful team assembled, beneath you, so to speak. Well, tell us about your leadership qualities and how you're getting the best out of these people to deliver the best experience they can.
Well, let me just say that I just try and stay out of the way. They're very, very good to see them working together, and the dynamics and the way the ideas spark off each other. It's hard to put into words, but if a definition of success is to surround yourself with quality people, this is the very definition of a wonderful team.
Thank you so much for sharing. So is it a little bit then, James, like that serene swan that's going across the lake and the engine room beneath the water is working overtime, or is it all very well synchronized, moving? Any issues, problems, or is everything coming together in the way that you visioned it?
Everything is wonderful, Nigel, and I defy anyone to force me to say anything else.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
there is, as I say, 49 days to go. We came to this rather late, and the amount of work that went into setting it up, setting up the website, setting up the whole preamble around the conference. And can I just say, we're really blessed with the support of Mairead, District Director Mairead, PQD Steve, Club Growth Director Kevin, the Finance Manager Will, the Admin Manager Maura, and the PRM Stallone. We have such a wonderful team, a wonderful backup, and we have teams, sub-teams below the teams as well. And then we have a wonderful facility in the Rose Hotel, and the management and staff there, particularly Mark and Ashling and Jennifer, they have been so helpful and accommodating and instructive and saying, well, look, we can do this for you, we can do that, we can help. A number of people who have bought tickets are actually staying for longer. They're actually coming early and staying late because you might not know Kerry, but it is wonderful. It's the southwest of Ireland. The only thing I would say to you is this: don't miss it, because if you do, the next stop is America, and it's a long way back again. As you quite rightly said, I was born in London. I spent the first 30 years of my life in London, and I came over here and I just fell in love with the place in terms of spectacular scenery, in terms of ambiance, in terms of the people. There is everything here that you could ever wish for a holiday, for a visit. It has been a tourist centre ever since Queen Victoria arrived here all those years ago. So there's no shortage of things to do. We have working windmills. We have an ecology park. We have an aquadome. We have the biggest park in the country outside the Phoenix Park in Dublin. So if there's any park runners out there, come along to that Saturday morning. And we have such a variety of events going on, not only in conference, but also outside conference.
So lots of great reasons to join then this May, James. I thought when you said earlier that people are coming earlier and staying later, it's because I heard all the drinks are on you. Is that true?
Absolutely. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything.
Okay. Well, just trying to look a little bit, but interesting what you said a little earlier, James. I know that the conference for this year had changed direction and changed venue quite late in the day. So actually, you're working with, if you like, a recompiled team in a much shorter time frame than you usually would enjoy for something like this. Has that, in a sense, given you any other challenges that perhaps, because I know you've been involved in these things over the years, that any unique challenges other than doing it the straightforward way at all?
It's a good question, Nigel. And when it's all over, I will look back and reflect on what you're asking. But as an immediate point of view, number one is we do a lot of festivals, international festivals in Kerry. We do a lot of, we have the International Rose of Tralee. We regularly hold the Global Economic Summit. And I'm fortunate enough to be involved in those things. So you pick up a little knowledge on the way. But there is a part that says that there's nothing like a deadline to concentrate the mind. And to be fair, all the team have been very inventive, very supportive. We have some very experienced people and we have some new people that are learning, but they're all bringing their own perspective and they're bringing their professional expertise and they're bringing their enthusiasm. And if you have enthusiasm, you will get through an awful lot. Absolutely. And I cannot praise this team highly enough. And we had a bit of a dry run earlier on in October of last year with the Great Bus Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw then at first hand just how much quality and how gifted our membership are, how talented they are. And we hope to see that for those weekends and those days in Tralee. I know we will.
Okay. Well, thanks, James, and thanks also from our sponsors, which is clearly the Irish Tourist Board here. You've sold it wonderfully, James, not just the conference itself, but also the wonderful Isle of Ireland as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. I do want to push you a little bit on what's going on at the conference, because is there anything you can tell us that's actually not on any of the promotional material at all? Is there going to be any surprises? Is there something people should look out for? Something that's just different or unique about this year's conference?
Well, there are going to be an awful lot of surprises. And while being respectful of the District 71 conference concepts and traditions, we think now that a quarter of the way into the 21st century, we can do some things a little different and a little with a different emphasis. I can tell you that the core things will be there, that the 3 contest finals in 3 days.
Yes.
3 wonderful world-class speakers. I can tell you that the business meeting where we elect our new leaders for the coming year, that of course is a staple. We're going to have a gala dinner, but this will be different because we're going to have what Ted Cochran calls recognition rocks, and there's going to be no shortage of people being honored and acknowledged for the work and commitment that they've made, not only to the district as a whole, but to their branches and also to the community. And I think that's something that we're keen to push this year, is the importance of getting involved with the community. And I'm fortunate in that we have the support of Kerry County Council, Tralee Urban District Council, and the Chamber Alliance here in Tralee. I feel that at times the conferences come in, the circus comes to town, and then it goes, and all that's left are a couple of holes in the ground where the tent went. Whereas we're going to have a legacy issue here, and we're going to have things that mean things. Our venue, the Rose Hotel, has been chosen because it has won awards for accessibility. We're going to invest in loop technology, so those members who have hearing difficulties will be assisted. Everything is going to be on one floor, on the level, so people with mobility issues, and I include myself in this, will be able to enjoy conference. And there'll also be time to sit back and relax and meet up with people that you maybe haven't seen for a couple of years. So whether it's your first conference and we're going to have something special for them, or whether it's your 50th conference, there'll be something new for you. And that's avoiding the question neatly by not spoiling the surprise.
Okay. Well, maybe one question you can't avoid now then, but thanks for sharing all that. You mentioned a moment ago about recognition rocks. I do want to bring up the fact that, as I said in the introduction, you were in that Hollywood film with Colin Farrell and Olivia Colman about 10 years ago or so. Can you just very briefly just talk us through that experience, what you learned, and what maybe you brought from that into the Toastmasters world?
Well, Nigel, I can honestly say that if I could go back and witness it again, I'd love to. I am not the person that you would imagine to be in a big film, although I now have got a taste for it and I've tried different things. But to see how these world-class performers behave and inspire and lead is the very lessons that we learn as Toastmasters. It was a wonderful experience. There was one part when I was sitting on stage with all the stars, and I turned around to Colin Farrell and said, "I'm the only one up here I have never heard of." And it's, I mean, Yorgos Lanthimos has continued to be Oscar nominated. Olivia went on to win an Oscar. Colin was nominated. They're all BAFTA winners. They're all Tony winners. They're John C. Reilly will give you a performance, 10 different performances, one after the other. Ben Winslow. It was just a wonderful, and to work with the people behind the scenes who have made things like Game of Thrones, wonderfully talented. And of course, this week of all weeks, we had Jessie Buckley, who literally is from Kerry, just down the road, winning the Best Actress award. And we've produced some films, and we're going to have young, talented filmmakers. A young man called Thomas Maguire. Remember that name. You will hear it in the future. He is doing work for us behind the scenes, and he'll also be helping us during the conference itself. It's going to be wonderful.
Excellent. Well, James, thank you so much. I've got loads of other questions to ask you, and I might get an opportunity a little later in this episode. But for now, James, thank you so much for taking part. And I now actually want to introduce our very next guest. And next we're going to speak to a speaker who very much is going to help us talk about the tough stuff, essentially. She's a life coach and facilitator living with MS. And she uses her 10 years of corporate knowledge and leadership experience to help others navigate life's unexpected challenges. I know this person personally, she's a massive inspiration. She's also the creator of Ignite, if I've said that correctly. We will talk about that a little bit when we get her on stage. But it's a daily ritual of breath, love, and laughter. Now, at the conference, our next guest is going to be leading a very interactive session entitled Presence Over Performance, encouraging all of us to move from self-leadership, from fear to self-leadership. And joining the conference as that presenter, please help me welcome Gina Dallison. Hey, Gina. How you doing?
Hello. Lovely to be here, Nigel. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
And did you have lovely sunny weather today? I know we're not too far apart geographically in the UK.
It's been glorious the last couple of days. I've got a right sun trap of a garden, and I've been,
I've noticed some of your LinkedIn posts are showing some of that as well. But one thing that always strikes me about yourself, Gina, you've always got a smile on your face, and that smile is always a mirror, or to me and many other people, of bringing joy and happiness into the world. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I just want to sort of dive straight into the conversation really about, how has Toastmasters helped you to find the voice you need to talk about resilience and, what your struggles with MS are?
I think it's definitely helped. It's given me a platform. It's helped me develop the confidence. It's given me a network of people. I mean, what I love about Toastmasters, even if you've been a member of the same club for years and years and years, every time you go to a meeting, the room is full of different people, isn't it? There's new guests in the room, and it's and that's just incredible. And as you sort of build out that audience, go to area, go to division, go to district, then that expands, and every Toastmaster is just a joy to meet, really.
Yeah, I can concur that. I mean, every single Toastmasters event I've ever been to, and I include this as one of them, hundreds over the years, I've always come away with two things, really. One, feeling better than when I arrived, and secondly, knowing a bit more than when I arrived. So it's all, every day is a school day in that respect. And I know we were talking earlier in the green room that we joined Toastmasters at the same time, didn't we? Around about the 2018, late 2018.
Yeah, October 2018.
And I remember you were at Godiva. I think I was at Boring in Birmingham. And I remember going to what would have been a division contest, probably the following March from the November or something. And we were generally chatting, and we were just talking about pathways. And you were saying, "Oh yeah, I'm on level 5." You were saying, and I was in the back of my mind, it was like, I've just done my icebreaker. What is it that's going on? And from that point forward, you've been a tremendous inspiration to sort of get myself off my backside and really do a lot of good stuff within Toastmasters, because the more you put in, of course, the more you can get out. So I just want to give you a personal thanks for being a
Oh,
great
thank
source
you.
of inspiration there. And I know we've chatted on and off over the years about various things. I'm always really curious about your journey. But one thing I am curious about now, I mentioned in your intro this thing called Blignite, if I've pronounced that correctly. Do you just
You
want
have
to tell us
pronounced it correctly.
a little bit more about that?
So Blignite is an acronym that I've created. So it's BLIGNITE, and it's a system, a framework, if you like, that I use and I like to share. So I've discovered TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, come and see me live on TikTok, and I jump on there every day. That's my intention, at least for the next little while, and go through the Blignite acronym. So I'll go through it quickly with you. So B is for breath.
Yeah.
Just bring in awareness to your breath. I've got L. There's one L, but there's two really. One is for love. And just ask yourself, what do I love? And then it brings a different vibration, because your mind starts thinking, what do I love? The second one is laughter, from the principles of laughter yoga. Let's just have a laugh. I is for intention, to bring in what you want to the world. G is for gratitude, what are you grateful for right now? N is for nature, because it grounds you all the time. I, the second I, is for what you ingest. So be aware of your food, your drink, and also what you ingest social media wise, and what's on your screens. T is for what you tell yourself, checking in that internal dialogue. And E is just a reminder to enjoy whatever is. And I go through that in a lot more depth, but it just helps you feel better. So
excellent. I'm going to put you on the spot here then, Gina. So out of Blignite, which in your view is the most important?
It's all of it. But any one of it really. Yeah. I think if you find yourself in overwhelm or stress, just bring your awareness to your breath. If you're feeling angsty and you can feel an argument brewing, especially if it's with a child, just laugh. It changes the energy just like that. So yeah, it's all of it. I kept adding to it. It started off Ignite. It started off Ignite, and then I was like, gotta have breath. So it's Big Night, and I was like, gotta have laugh. So yeah, so it sort of grew as an acronym we recognise.
Yeah. Well, I remember that acronym they had for all the countries in the EU many years ago. It was Battling Pigs, wasn't it? And they tried to create it and had the country names on at the end and all the rest of it. Is there anything else that's likely to get added to that at all?
Who knows? Something else might come in, and but it has grown. So, and I've got a little song as well, but I'll save that till another time.
Well, we might have some time later. But interesting why I asked that question, because when I read through your model a little bit earlier, the one that stood out to me, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all important. I've got to say one is more important than the others. And for me, it was probably the intention one, because intention for me is to act, it's to do something, it's to move in a sense. So that one really caught my attention. But wonderful model. Thank you so much for sharing that. But let's get back to you, and let's get back to the conference a little bit. So presence over performance. What are you going to be covering in that particular session?
So this is what I really wanted to bring to this was, we can practice and we can practice and we can practice, and we can script out and write all the words and try and come up with the great word pictures and get rid of the ums and ahs. But all of that is lost a little bit if we're too much in our head when we get onto the stage, that we don't ground ourselves, that we don't get into our body, that we don't be present in the moment. And so that's what I'm going to be taking people through. Blignite is part of that, to get present, but just to allow people to experience some real time shifts that will help ground them, but also elevate their vibrations. Because when you can get on the stage as a grounded whole human being that's attached to the earth and vibrating in the best way possible, then you're going to perform better than you've ever done before.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing that, Gina. I was reading recently that, when we get fear and anxiety, is that exactly the same sensation as joy and excitement? I don't know whether you recognise or have known that, and I suppose what you're going to be going through is that sort of reframing of those things to become totally present. Is that part
Well,
of
it's
the?
certainly that's part of it. That internal, that
Yeah,
what you tell yourself, that internal
yeah,
dialogue. Because if you're going onto the stage with that, and oh God, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to forget my words, I'm going all of that stuff. And what you said about intention, it's
yes,
like, well, that's not I'm not intending to go onto the stage and forget my words. So
yeah,
then it's using that visualization, using that energy to focus on seeing yourself standing there and delivering the
yeah,
speech of your life, really, and enjoying it, because
yeah.
it's all about enjoying it, isn't it?
Sounds like there's going to be a healthy dose of, if you like, performance psychology in there, almost as if you're like tuned athletes ready to run the 100 meters or something. And similar thing
Absolutely.
for those sort of guys as well. And so, as I was touching with James a moment ago, with respect to that Hollywood blockbuster he was in just a few years ago. For those that haven't seen the film, it's called The Lobster. It actually does get a very good IMDb rating of 7.1.
I've just looked it up. I'm going to watch it now. I've never heard of it.
Without giving away the premise of the film, because it is a bit of a dark comedy. If you don't do something in the film, then you turn into an animal of your choosing. Okay, and I'm just wondering if I was to ask you that question, what might your answer be?
I think I'd like to turn into some sort of water bird that could swim and fly and walk, because it can do everything, and it gets to fly around the world and gets to see things from different perspectives. Because when you're in the water, things look very different to when you're in the air to when you're on the land. So, yeah.
And I guess that would sort of, with your Blignite thing, sort of tick all those boxes in that respect at the same time, wouldn't it, for something that's out there in nature and sort of behaving
Oh,
with...
definitely. Yeah, definitely
Oh,
getting it on with nature and in the water. Definitely, I like a bit of wild swimming.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting one. So, and wild swimming is like cold water swimming, is it?
Yeah, well, it's usually cold, yeah, but it's anything. It's not always cold, to be fair.
Outdoors, isn't it?
Yeah,
Outdoors. Yeah.
outdoors. So it's wild. So it's either sea or lakes, rivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that part of your routine? I don't know if it's a
I
daily routine.
wish.
Yeah,
I wish. It's a bit of a struggle for me to physically get to the water these
of course.
days, but yeah, I do. If I can, I will, and I'm always looking for new places where I can, topple in or crawl in, somehow get in there.
Well, I can tell you, I do the cold water therapy, the Wim Hof stuff with the cold showers and stuff. But even that's a bit of a struggle every day. I'm
Yes.
still waiting for what those benefits might be, but it certainly does wake you up, of course. But tell me, Gina, what's one of the things that you're really looking forward to at the Rose Conference this year?
Well, this is my fourth conference, and after Liverpool, where the reason that I went was because I'd got through to district in the evaluation contest, and just thought, this is going to be part of my year now. This is my annual thing for me. So I'm really looking forward to all of the stuff, seeing the great contest, being part of it, meeting people. One of the best things that are like having lunch with the food. There's always lots of nice things to eat, but actually enjoying that food when having great conversations. There's always lots of great conversations everywhere. And I too am planning to extend my trip over there and see a bit of Ireland as well.
So James has promised to buy the drinks beforehand.
Well, absolutely. So
that's what he told me anyway. Just kidding, by the way. Just kidding. And Gina, thank you so much for joining us. I'll bring you back on with James and our final guest in a short while. But for now, Gina, thank you so much for sharing, and look forward to speaking to you in a short while.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Take care. And so finally, we're going to move on to our third guest this evening. And our third guest is going to be a bit of a keynote star at this year's Rose Conference. And just to go through all of his accolades, he's an award-winning professional speaker and coach who believes you shouldn't wait for the world to recognise your greatness. You should live it and let the world catch up, which I think is great. He's made history by placing third in the World Championships of Public Speaking. So we've got someone of almost Toastmasters royalty with us here this evening, and also at the Rose Conference. And he's also done TEDx speaking as well, which is certainly up there in terms of a real credible performances. He's the CEO of his own, what's known as the Caesar Empire Speaking and Coaching. He's helped thousands of leaders find their what he calls magnetic presence. He's flown in virtually, of course, but physically he'll be there on May 8th, 9th and 10th in Tralee. It's the one and only Roger Caesar. Hi, Roger. Good evening. How you doing? Or rather, good afternoon. It's still mid-afternoon for your guest right now in Toronto.
Yes, it is. Hello, Nigel, and hello to District 71. Good to be here.
Well, let's start with District 71 because you're a bit of a serial attender to our District 71 conferences. I heard rumours that you were in Portlaoise just a couple of years ago and you set the room alight with your wonderful session. What is it about Ireland? What is it about District 71? What is it about Toastmasters that keeps bringing you back?
Well, first and foremost, it's the members of this district. I have spoken about this district from the minute I left up to today. I am constantly praising the members of District 71, the camaraderie, the hospitality, how welcomed I felt right from the beginning. And it went right through, even beyond the actual conference. I have been friends with so many members to this day, and I cannot say enough great things about the district. And as for Toastmasters, we've heard a few people say it already here today, but Toastmasters continues to show you that no matter how far you think you have gone, there is always room to continue growing. And looking at proficient speakers, proficient leaders, those who have come before us, to watch and to learn from them and to be able to better your own skills each and every day is a true testament to this organization and the members that are a part of it.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, Roger. You yourself have had such a wonderful journey through Toastmasters to setting up your own business and sort of taking it almost Tony Robbins-esque everywhere. Can you just sort of tell us how Toastmasters was integral to that? Or what was that pivot point where you realized I could do this? And then again, I'll use my intention from Gina's model. What gave you that impetus to sort of overcome that and move forward and take the action?
There's always moments in your life where you see the direction will change. And I often tell people, turn the GPS off and allow yourself to see where it takes you. When I first started in Toastmasters, it was primarily because I wanted to feel comfortable in small settings with 2 or 3 people. I was a newly business owner at the time, and walking into an executive meeting was a little daunting for me. And so I wanted to learn from that perspective. As I grew in Toastmasters and started competing at the world stage and realizing that I had a gift of gab, I started realizing that my shift was to now help others who were coming up and to learn how to become great speakers and learn the skills that came along with it. When 2021 came along and I had placed 3rd in the world, that was the next gear, so to speak, in that journey where I realized, hey, this could actually be something that I can start doing from the perspective of a new business, helping people, grooming them, whether they are competing, whether it's from a corporate perspective, helping leaders to present with power. This became something that became my calling. And that's when I started in 2022. I started Caesar Empire Speaking and Coaching. And our motto is where we are building an empire of captivating communicators.
For some reason, in the back of my mind, Roger, I've got like Caesar's Palace in a sense, or something like that. You know.
Well, here's the funny thing. Ironically, that is the very first place I went to the World Championship of Public Speaking. Wow. and competed in 2015 So it's ironic that I would have my very first experience, which wasn't the best, but it was my very first experience at the World Championship in Caesar's Palace.
Oh, wow. And of course, every experience is a learning. You always take something from that. But what I think you mentioned just now, which was, I think, quite profound, really, when you said turn your GPS off. It's sort of like giving yourself permission to step back from that big, audacious goal that you're relentlessly charging towards, because sometimes you just have to let the journey take you, don't you, in that sense? And I remember that Steve Jobs quote, which said, you know, you can only join the dots looking backwards, not forward. So that sort of resonates with that at the moment. But you say that turning point was your experience at the World Championships just 3 or 4 years ago, gave you that massive incentive to move forward and start your own coaching business for professional presenters.
Yes, that's when it all started. Since then, I teach at one of the universities here. I teach public speaking and business presentations. I'm an author of a book, which I will be bringing. I got it right here. The book is called Speak to Inspire, that I co-authored with Victoria Sokolova. I've done so many different projects that cemented why this was where I was supposed to be. And when I say turn your GPS off, it doesn't mean that you don't have plans, that you don't have goals. But what it means is that don't be so stringent that you miss out on possible opportunities that could be much bigger for you. And that's what I did. I started off being a business owner of a family-owned business and thinking that was my calling. And then I turned that GPS off, and I allowed myself to see where this is going to take me. And look where I am today. And I'm really, really grateful, humbled, and thankful for all the people along that journey who has helped me to be where I am.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that, Roger. And it's almost, I'm just sort of thinking back to what Gina was saying about, you know, being in the present, you know, because that's the most important time that we've got. So thank you so much for sharing that. But just coming back to Ireland, to Tralee, to the Rose Conference, what is it you're most looking forward to? You know, in those unplugged conversations in the corridor, maybe when maybe you're not on stage, or, you know, you're not having dinner and stuff. What are the things that brings it all together for you? What are you looking forward to?
Again, first and foremost, I was laughing when Gina was talking about the food, and the running joke for me was the last time I was there, I learned so much history about Ireland. I visited some beautiful places, Galway and Enniskillen and Dublin. And the one thing that I learned is that everybody loves potatoes. And I remember everywhere I turned, I was getting potatoes, to the point where I left Ireland. I went home and I said, okay, for a month, I don't want to see potatoes at all. But that is something that in a fun way, it is something that resonated and stayed with me. And I'm looking forward to rekindling those conversations that I had with so many people. I mean, I wrote a list of people, and I want to shout out. Can I shout out these people? Because they actually, amongst many others, and I don't want to excuse anybody else, but, you know, Peter Kieran was the one who actually invited me to come and be the keynote speaker in 2024. So I want to give a shout out to him, Therese Kinahan, who took me around, taught me so much about Ireland. Our past district director, Elizabeth Jordan, who I know is on the call. So hello, Elizabeth. Thank you for opening your arms and welcoming me into your district. Of course, the past district director, Danny Banks as well. Paul O'Mahony. I mean, what can I say about him? He's been such a pleasure, a great friend of mine. Anthony Garvey as well. So many other people that I can count. And of course, David Clinton, who I call my brother from another mother. He has been awesome as a friend since the minute I left there till now. And in fact, is the one who also invited me to come back to Ireland and be a part of this amazing district. I'm loving it. So to all of those people, and of course, James, who as well has been instrumental in bringing me and has been a great supporter and friend of mine. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you and many more.
Great. Well, you got a list of the usual suspects there, Roger, people that really stand up and deliver for District 71. And I guess that's part of the difference that made the difference when I asked you the earlier question of what makes District 71 so unique and different from other districts around the world.
The people. I could say so many other things, Nigel, but it's the people that I talk about every single time I talk about District 71, how great the people were.
And how often do you talk about the potatoes as well then? Because they're definitely going to be on the menu, aren't they? They're going to be on the menu.
Oh, they will, but I'm prepared now. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm prepared this time. But yes, I do talk about that as well as a running joke, but it's something that I know is important and from the history, and that's what it is. So it's not taking it as a joke in terms of making fun of it, but it's more about understanding why this is such an important part of who they are, and that to me is the real important part of this.
And of course, it's memorable and it makes for great stories, which you've clearly just shared with us. But of course, Ireland is full of great storytellers anywhere.
Yes.
So what do you think, Roger, in terms of what do you think that secret sauce is that's universal when it comes to telling a story, whether it's in Toronto or it's in Tralee? What would you say?
I would say it's being authentic and truly sharing your vulnerability. I talk about this all the time with people. Your stories are the gateway to your soul and the pathway to an audience's heart. I'm going to repeat that. Your stories are the gateway to your soul and a pathway to the audience's heart. Through your stories, you connect to your audience. It's important to understand the value of your story, because at the end of the day, there will always be someone in that audience that might be going through a similar situation as you have and are just needing that one person to say, it's okay, you can get through this. Yeah. But if you're holding those stories back because you're afraid it's embarrassing or it's sad or it's a horrible time in your life, you never know how that gift can help someone else move forward in theirs.
Absolutely. And you prove that through your own story in terms of what you've done and the arc that you've taken to provide that inspiration to, in a sense, be on your own hero's journey in that way. And as you say, be relatable to other people and connect deeply to share that particular story. So I've got to ask you also, Roger, that the question back from James's film, if you're not going to be a lobster, what animal might you be if you have to change to something for some particular reason? Is there something that would stand out for yourself?
Well, I was sitting in the back room and said, "Oh gosh, what would I want to be?" There's so many different animals that I would probably choose, but I think I'll go with the eagle. And I'll go with the eagle from the perspective that it's a massive bird, but at the same time, it's so majestic when you see it flying. It's the idea that it could see, it's got beautiful vision. And that's important from the perspective of, even as a speaker, we as speakers must be able to see and be in the moment, the crowd, and understand that you can't be married to your speeches. You have to understand that when you're there and certain moments happen, to engage and to have that. So fly across the room metaphorically like that eagle, but also have that acute vision to see when moments are happening. So that would be mine.
Yeah, and as you were explaining and given that I've got visions and images in my mind about soaring with eagles, which is all about rise and progression. So a really great shout out there. Thanks so much, Roger. And of course, this year's conference is all about growth. So if there was one takeaway piece of advice which could potentially be a seed to any Toastmaster that's going to visit us at the conference this year, what might that seed of advice be, or what might you say to them?
For one, I would tell them to have their pen and papers ready and to observe everything that they see at the conference. Metaphorically, open your eyes and really take in all that you see. There are stories that are all over, that will be all over this conference. From the minute you arrive, you will have stories that will develop if you open your eyes and look, and of course, listen to many of the proficient speakers, the great leaders who will be speaking. Get to know somebody new, and that's key too. Don't hang around with only the people that you know, but find out if there's other people that you have not met before and find out their stories so that you can now put your own catalog of stories together. And maybe, just maybe, that will be a story that you will share that will help somebody else who will want to come to the next year's conference.
Great answer. Thank you so much for sharing, Roger. Please do stay where you are. If I could kindly ask for James and Gina to join us. What we're going to do for the last segments of this particular panel discussion is just have a bit of a general chat, and maybe, guys, if you want to say hello to each other and just give a bit of a wave or whatever else.
Hello.
And this is just going to be completely free flowing, really. But James, I just do want to come to you first. You're a man of Tralee. You don't sound Irish. We've spoken about this before. You don't even sound like you come from London. So don't know what you're drinking over there. But if you were to take a quiet pint somewhere in Tralee, where might that be? If it's not at the Rose Hotel, is some great places to go in and around the city there?
Well, I can promise you that there is no shortage of little watering holes, whether you want a big shindig or whether you want a quiet dram in the corner. Tralee is full, but I would emphasize that Dot's Bar in the Rose Hotel is wonderful. And there are lots of little nooks and crannies that you can have that quiet. As Roger said, hear stories, meet people that you haven't seen for a while. It's going to be great. Could I also just add that as well as Roger, and Roger has sold himself so well, why he was asked back is because he gets involved in the conference. He doesn't just come in, give his talk, go away. Roger was in the middle of everything that was happening. And the other two guest speakers we have coming, Dr. Liam Moggan, who coaches elite athletes, Olympic athletes, international athletes, and teams. The development of the individual leads to the development and the performance of the team. You will learn so much from him. And then, with the greatest respect, Roger, we have a man as the keynote speaker who is a legend, a cultural icon.
Mm-hmm.
In 1990, he saved a penalty. But that could have been the end of his story. That could have been his whole life. But he's developed on. He's become a manager. He involves himself in his community. He comes from the smallest village you might imagine up in Donegal. No matter how small you're thinking, it is smaller. And he has gone and he has broken bread with presidents, with royalty, with popes. And his journey is wonderfully inspiring. So we have three fantastic, world-class speakers that we can learn so much. I would say not only bring a pen and paper, bring the camera, bring the phone, bring plenty of film. But Roger, those who've met him before will know how good he is, and he will meld so greatly with the other two gentlemen, Liam Moggan and Packy Bonner.
Thanks so much for that, James. Gina, I just want to move to yourself now. In terms of, we've talked about your, I've just got to go back and say, so it's a massive, big acronym, isn't it? I think it's BLIGNICE, yeah. So and we spoke about those particular aspects that build it all up. But just before you walk on stage to do your presence over performance session and workshop, how will you be mentally preparing yourself, getting yourself ready to sort of go out there and deliver?
Well, I'll be using some of those tappy little exercises, priming yourself, which I'm sure Roger does very well. I can imagine him. And breathe. I think what I've found really good is when I've been in competitions before and I'm, you're waiting, and then you have that minute silence, don't you, where all the judges are writing. Yeah. I use that as an opportunity just to breathe and ground and breathe, because that just calms your central nervous system. And you can have a running dialogue in your head, but it's better just to trust that actually you've done everything that you need to do. Everything is going to go how it goes, and just, decide to enjoy. Breath. It all comes back to the breath.
Thanks for sharing that, Gina. And Roger, I want to come to you because somebody once said to me, probably, 2-3 years ago, they said, if you want to be a better speaker, then write a book. And I noticed when we spoke a little earlier, you said you'd sort of co-authored a book. Was that part of your intentional journey, or is it something that was a natural extension of what you were doing, or any other reasons for it? And what did you learn through that particular process as well?
That's a great question, Nigel. I had been approached many times during my journey in Toastmasters, mainly after I had been to the World Championships the second time. But I didn't feel like my journey was complete, and I didn't feel that I was ready to put a book together. And then around 2020, I was asked again, now that I had been there 3 times, are you ready to write something? And it still didn't feel right to me. Once I went to the World Championships and I won, I felt like that was the part of the story that was missing for me. Mm-hmm. And that's when last year, Victoria Sokolova and myself, we met in 2024 at the convention, and we decided to have this crazy idea. What if we wrote a book? She had been on various TEDx stages and then started organizing TEDx events. And then I, being on the World Championship stage, our experiences, we decided to put this book together. And it felt so natural because now I had so much information that I can give to others that they can learn from. And with her knowledge as well, it felt seamless to do it. And in fact, it's so seamless that we are now putting together our second book that is coming soon called Speak to Impact. And we are trying to get that prepared in time for the conference as well. So little things that we're trying to work on, and we're doing the best we can. But the experience alone, Nigel, taught me that, again, you never know where this road will take you. I didn't expect that I would be an author, but I am now, and I absolutely enjoyed every moment, and I learned so much about myself in my writing skills and how to put everything together to help other people.
Great, thanks. And the advice I was given about if you want to be a better speaker or become a better speaker, then write a book. Was that true for you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Excellent. Thanks very much for sharing. Well, where should we go next? James, let's go back to you. I still want to push and probe a little bit about what you're not telling us about the conference, what people can expect. I know you've done a great sort of advert for not just the conference, but also the whole of Ireland as well, which is fantastic. And I think you want people to stay for a month rather than just the 3 days. But is there one thing that will be a surprise for the folks that are coming to maybe someone that's never been to a conference for the first time, maybe someone from one of the clubs in England or Scotland venturing first time into Ireland? What do you think they're going to notice different from where they are back home? What is that Irish crack, whatever it might be, which is the difference that makes the difference, which makes everyone just fall in love with the place, do you think?
That's a very good question, Nigel. One of the things we hope to do is that everyone will leave with a word or two of Irish, because we're going to be bilingual. And we're also going the traditional opener for conferences is what used to be called the Anglo-Irish meeting on the Thursday night. It is now going to be called the Anglo-Celtic meeting to support our Scottish and Welsh friends and colleagues. There's little things like that. There'll be little changes to the opening ceremony. And I'm not going to say any more than that, because the only thing I will say is, the only thing I'll add is this. There will be formal learning, and we're going to have wonderful workshops that are being announced even as we speak. But there's going to be the informal learning, the chatting with Roger, with Liam, with Packy, with Gina, and all our other workshop tutors, and all our other colleagues. You said it totally correctly there, Roger. We all have our story, and the most human thing we ever do is gather round the fire and share stories. And we're going to have little one-to-one spots where all this will be encouraged and supported. And of course, we'll have the major events. So we are going to have the best of all worlds. We are going to quote a famous man, we are going to learn best in our moments of enjoyment. And our confidence will bloom.
And an extra point, James, if you can tell me who said that.
Oh, I think it was you, Nigel, wasn't it? Or was it
No,
perhaps?
it wasn't me. No. I say it a lot, but it's not mine. It's not mine. I stole it with pride.
Yes, absolutely.
A wonderful founder, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're living true to what he set up just over 100 years ago. Indeed. So we have this connection, looking back, but also looking forward.
Excellent. And so there's nothing you can't tell us that's not actually on the official agenda.
You're going to have to come. You're going to have to come along.
Well, that is a great call to action, isn't it, James, to get people to them? Because I know for a fact, because I went to the one in Solihull last year, there was stuff going on that wasn't officially written down, which just turned out to be a real blast. So there's going to be.
If you plan everything, there's no informality. There's no little spark of genius. There's no. Look at our open mics. We're going to have open mics where people can perform. Excellent. We're going to have people singing. We're going to have people telling jokes. We're going to have people sharing stories.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm just conscious of time. We just got 3 minutes before we wrap this show up. What I'd like each of you as guests to do is I'm going to give you the start of a sentence, and I'm just going to get you to finish it, hopefully in a sentence or two. And Gina, I'm going to come to you first, if that's okay. But the start of your sentence is, you have to be in Tralee because, and I'm not going to introduce it like I would for a contest, but I'll say it once more. You have to be in Tralee because it's the in-person connection of this scale, which really is where the magic happens, rather, and your confidence definitely will bloom. And I love I love the tagline we have for this, definitely. Well, thank you so much for that, Gina. Roger, I'm going to come to you next. You have to be in Tralee because
of the majestic magnificence that brings memorable moments.
Oh, fantastic! Oh. Well done. James, you've got to go one now to sort of come up with something that you've had a lot of time to think about this as well now, but you have to be in Tralee because
in the old Irish blessing, a stranger is a friend. A friend is a stranger you have just met. So you're going to meet so many friends here, and you're going to make so many contacts, and you're going to have so much fun. Do not miss it.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Roger, to Gina, to James. You've heard from our engine house. You've heard from our heart. You've heard from our star-studded voice of the conference this year. Don't end this evening without going to the website, which I think is going to be appearing on screen any minute now. There's lots of tickets available. James, Gina, thank you so much. I also want to give a great shout out for our series producer, Olga Byrne, who's diligently working in the background and has done for over 23 episodes. Thank you so much for that, Olga. I've been your host here this evening. I'm Nigel Smith. And hopefully I'm going to see you all at the Rose Hotel in May. Thank you so much for attending. Guys, thanks for a wonderful panel session, and all the best in Tralee in May. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.